Good morning, everyone. Mr. Kennedy here. Today, we're going to be learning how to draw Dory.
Alright, so to get started with drawing Dory, the first thing I'm going to do is, in the middle of my paper, I'm going to make kind of an upside down egg shape. So what I mean by that is I'm kind of drawing an oval, but I want the top of my oval to be wider and the bottom of my oval to be a little bit thinner. Alright, next let's think about her fins. So Dory is going to have two little fins coming down by her side. So if I drew a line right here, I can make sure they're about even. So I'm going to come out on the right. I'm going to make kind of a straight line. I'm going to curve up, and then I'm going to start to curve down. As I bring it into the body, it's going to get lower and lower. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but this fin I can make just a little bit longer. Just so she's not perfectly even on both sides. And again, as I bring the other side of this fin in, it's going to get lower, almost like I'm making a triangle shape as I bring it back into the body. And then there's two little marks on her fins that we're going to make right now. We're going to make one right here at the end, so I'm just going to make one little line going straight down, not on the tip of the fin, but right next to it. Then I'm going to make another one kind of in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So again, right next to the edge, and then kind of in the middle. Alright, so the next thing is let's start to play with the top of her head a little bit because it's not perfectly round. So on the left side of her head, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that curve around, and right when it starts to get towards the top, I'm going to bring it in. Almost, this is going to be almost like a long eyebrow for her later. I'm just going to curve it in just a little bit, just like that. On the other side, I'm going to do kind of the same thing, except I'm going to come up a little bit higher. Notice I'm going outside of my original oval shape now, and I'm going to curve it in. And this one, I want to go just a little bit further than the first one I made. So this one's going further down on her head. And then last thing is kind of where I have this top of this oval, I'm going to make a little point here. So I'm going to come up and back down. And I can just kind of clean up some of those lines that I made originally that I don't need anymore. All right, now I'm going to draw two lines, really light lines, that are going to help me draw Dory's eyes. So the first one I'm going to draw towards the top of her head, and this line is just going to kind of tell me where the top of her eyes should be. So her eyes shouldn't go any taller than this line. The bottom of her eyes, we're going to want them to be a little bit above where her fins are. So her fins end here, so we're going to bring her eyes maybe like right here. Dory has very big eyes. I'm also going to draw two lines kind of in the middle. This one's going to be next to where I kind of made these two little loops on her head. So I'm going to make one right there. I'm going to make another one right next to it. This is, again, kind of just helping me box out where I'm going to be putting Dory's eyes. So this eye will go in this box, this eye will go in this box. So, and also I'm going to put a little mouth kind of a little bit above her fins and to the left, or the right side of her, excuse me. So I'm just going to make a little line going down. Let's give her a little smile, then a little line to finish it. All right, so now for her eyes. Now her eyes are not perfect circles, so don't worry about getting your circles perfect. Really, we want just kind of very large circular shapes in these boxes. But the big part is I'm gonna go outside of this line that we made for the side of her head. So we get started with her right eye. And again, I'm just kind of, it's not touching this line, it is touching this one, and that's okay. These are just kind of to help guide me making her eyes. We call those construction lines because they help us construct our drawing. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing on the side. And again, I'm going outside of the side of her head. All right, now we can clean up some of those construction lines and get rid of them because we don't really need those anymore. I'm also going to erase this line, the part of her body that is now technically behind her eye. All right, this looks a little weird right now. Let's give her some details in her eyes. What we're going to do is we're going to draw a series of circles. This first one is going to be her pupil, so the part we color in black. So I'm going to put this right next to the side of her eye. We can make this one nice and big. Now towards the top of this circle, right on the edge, I'm going to make a little oval. This is going to be for the light catcher, where the light is kind of shining in her eyes. Next, we're going to do another ring coming out of the side of this circle. And it's going to, so we're only really drawing half of a circle now. So it comes out kind of on the side of my circle. Goes a little bit past where I originally drew the side of her face. All right, now let's do the same thing on the side. So again, we're going to draw a big circle. If we want to make sure we get them the same height, we can draw some construction lines to help guide us. So now I know this should be the general size of that eye. Again, I want it right next to the side of her eye. And again, let's draw that little light catcher up near the top of her eye, right on the edge. And again, we're going to draw another ring. But again, this one's going to be kind of coming out the opposite direction. So let's, again, kind of come up on the side of the eye here. We're going to go around and back in. Just like that. Actually, yeah. All right, the next thing I want to do is let's give Dory some of the designs on her body. Now, she has this little design. I'm not sure if it's a fin or what, but there's a little black part up here. There's like a little black triangle, and we're going to draw one on the other side too. So just a little tiny black triangle coming out of the top of her head going downwards. Next, she has this almost like it's not really her eyebrow, but it's the skin above her eyes, between her eyes and her eyebrows. So we're going to draw a little mark right here, right above her eye. And then we're going to draw another one, but it's going to loop up, almost like it's going to follow this curve and back down. And it should end right where we drew this line to. Now we're going to do kind of the same thing on the other side. So we're going to start right down here. We're going to wrap it around the eye. And again, we're going to draw a big loop kind of coming from where the start of it is, but this one's not going to line up with the end. This one's going to go a little bit past it. So again, we're going to kind of follow that curve we made up top, and we'll end that right there. Last thing we want to do is let's give Dory her back fin, her tail fin. So what we're going to do is kind of coming out the side of her left eye, we're going to make a line that's going to curve up. Now we're going to bring that shape down. We're just going to kind of curve it down. We're going to go a little bit past the fin. We're going to bring it in towards her body, but stop. From here, we're going to curve back up. We're going to pretend like it's going through her fin and back into her body. Now she has these little lines on her fin for details. So let's give her some little lines. So when I draw these lines, notice these ones curve up, but as it gets kind of in the middle, there's less of a curve. Now I'm going to start to curve them down. Again, I'm kind of imagining these lines going through her fin and coming out on the other side. And that is the start of our Dory. Now we're ready to trace, do a little erasing, and start coloring.
All right, my friends, and that is how we draw Baby Dory. If you want to pause the video here at home, you can to match the same colors, but you do not have to. I hope you guys had fun today. I hope you're staying safe, you keep drawing, and I'll see you next time.